I'm Rachel Ramsey at ITEXPO Miami. I'm here with Robert Messer, the president of ABP Tech. Welcome.
Hi, Rachel.
Just to get started, tell me a little bit about your company, what you offer.
We are a specialty distributor for IP technology products. We mainly focus on the reseller space, but also on managed service companies and service providers doing fulfillment for service providers.
Okay, great. So what are some trends that you see in the industry today?
I would say the big trend right now is cloud. Everything is moving into the cloud.
Okay, and how is that impacting? We've heard a lot about at ITEXPO so far how the cloud is impacting service providers and carriers, but how is it affecting resellers?
That's a very good question. One of our core constituencies of our customer base are resellers, and of course we want our resellers to be strong and to grow, and they're definitely going to be affected by this trend because this is a big trend that's really going to come in. I think that when these trends come, the best thing to do is to embrace them and embrace them quickly and not let them sort of get you. So we think that resellers have some great opportunities in this space. They need to focus on their customers though and change their role a little bit. I think that the reseller needs to be much more of a technology partner for their customers and see himself as his customers' trusted advisor, his IP technology partner, as opposed to being a reseller that buys and sells things. So the value of him is actually his expertise, his technology experience, and also his selection of products, because there's so much confusion out there. Yes, you can buy everything online, but what do you buy, right? So the problem that the reseller has had before is that he helps because customers do take their advice, and unfortunately then they go online and may find it cheaper. So of course it's very important that the reseller finds a model that protects him, both by having the right kind of products that you can't just buy it cheaper. But the other thing too is the reseller needs to change the way he interacts with the customer, be more of a consultant to the customer. I think they need to learn, just like managed service companies, build a model that's more sort of monthly revenue, more of a flat, regular stream of income. Resellers can do that too. They just need to learn how to take that expertise that they have and productize it. We recommend things during our sales meetings and our roadshows. Resellers can do that. Now, one of the main things that I believe is that the strengths that the reseller has is the reseller, in my mind, is the guy that's in control of the customer's premise. Because if the customer has trust in the reseller, then the place that he needs somebody the closest is in his premise. The service provider of the application, whatever they're using it, if it's the ERP, if it's a telephony service, those service providers will handle the support of those services because they're closer to it, it's their service. However, they will not handle the equipment that's in the end user in that SMB's offices in that space. So that's where the reseller actually can help the most. So we think that they need to attack that space and really be make sure that that foundation of infrastructure that those offices have on-premise, that they're absolutely impeccable. Because now with everything being in the cloud, the connectivity issue, bandwidth, quality of service, the failover in case that if you have like one service provider, one link right to the internet, if that's down, you can't depend anymore like in the old days on just one carrier. We believe that you should have like not even two carriers, or two links, but actually two different links, like maybe one wireless, one cable, one DSL, so you can create like a blend of connectivity to the internet so that you're never down. There are a lot of advantages of doing that, even the asymmetricity of bandwidth, right? Like cable has a huge bandwidth down, but not a lot up, but if you can actually blend cable and DSL and create something better than having a T1.
Great, excellent. And what about you as a distributor? How is the cloud impacting you?
Well, we've seen the reseller market change, of course, and fortunately, since we do a lot of fulfillment of endpoints, things like phones and devices that go on premise that are being sold by the service providers use our services for fulfilling these. So that has changed. We actually do a very large percentage of business now in the service provider space. For us, though, we want to help those resellers that work with us utilize this change to their benefit. We always think when there's a change, when there's a wave, you can always get on it, ride it, and just go somewhere, right? Surfing analogy here. So I think that the resellers, they just need to have the right tools, the right products, some guidance, and just work on on staying on the board.
So how do you help them? What do you provide to help them do that?
Mainly, we thought that the best opportunity right now in terms of tangible products, since we're a distributor, we make money selling things, is to attack the infrastructure, which is what the reseller has the strongest influence over. And there's some great opportunities in the infrastructure. If you ask most customers, to begin with, everything is in the cloud, right? It's all going to pass through the demarcation, through my gateway, to the world, which is my router. These routers have been put in by a service provider years ago when all the tools that we have today maybe didn't exist yet, and the needs for the security, the bandwidth, maybe connecting multiple service providers wasn't there. So the reseller can actually go in and he can sell multi-WAN, that means multiple link, internet links, routers in their customers so that they have a more secure, redundant failover link. But there's a lot of other things that they can do. We carry a series of companies on the low end, middle of space, like up to maybe 1,000 users. We have a router family from a company called Tech. They have small routers, multi-WAN. They offer a lot of other services that the resellers can make money with, like content filtering. There are a lot of things that go on in the companies that people don't want their employees to be doing, right? And there's wasted work. Space time. They just basically are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. There's also a lot of things that use up a lot of bandwidth that the company maybe needs to update their bandwidth, whereas they should have filtered what's going on. There's also what I call internet pollution. There's a lot of could be viruses on the network, rogue sites that are sending stuff. And you can filter all that out, but you've got to have, the right router. The other opportunity is, then companies also may have real issues where they need to have higher bandwidth on demand. So we have some nice products for the larger companies that actually need to have a lot more bandwidth for certain applications than they can get, or they want bandwidth in mobile environments like, at a show, an RV or boats or a lot of things. So you're maybe a coach bus, and you still want to watch videos inside, right? So how do I get that bandwidth in those applications? So those are specialty areas that resellers can also handle, like with patents, bandwidth on demand that we sell. And then the last space that I think is sort of almost a forgotten space is the pipes, the real infrastructure inside of the building, the switches. Everybody has switches, but nobody makes any money selling switches. They seem like a total commodity, very cheap. You go to Fry's to buy one when you need one. And so they have this potpourri of switches from 5 different brands that are actually fighting amongst each other and competing and resetting themselves and creating packets. Some of them are IPv4, some of them are really maybe 10/100. Some people have them plugged in wrong, where they're using the uplink for an endpoint, but since resellers couldn't make money in that space, it became neglected. I think the resellers need to look at that again, take some switches that will allow them to make money, that have a good margin, and they're not expensive, but every company needs them, and it's just a great way of helping the company clean up their infrastructure, come in from the router over the switches, and then get to what I call the endpoints, like the phones, video conferencing things, and then you got the confidence of that customer because everything he has already works better, right, after you cleaned up. And then you can go into new things. So I think it's a great thing for the resellers. And the last thing I think resellers should do is they should really get knowledgeable about applications in the cloud so that they can be consultants and can sell those. And the great thing is they don't have to be the ones that support them. They can get residual income from these things. There's usually support by the manufacturers, but they become like the expert, and they can help configure and set it up, because they will have a huge advantage over each customer, because the second time they did it one more time than each customer, right? So now they're the expert, and after they did it 5 or 10 times, they're really good, and their service providers that they sell will love them. They're going to have channel partner programs where they give benefits to the guys that did the most. So there's just a lot of opportunities, I think, for the reseller, and the best thing is he gets to be closer to his customers. They don't have to be out there just selling stuff. They can focus on less customers, have more of a relationship with them, and so I think it's a great new time for the resellers.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you out
You're
on the
welcome.
floor.
Thank you.
Thank you.